Shalom. Blessings to everyone. I'm making this video today, I guess you could say, to address some things that Pastor Rufus had put out, just to get some clarification. I promise to keep my voice level a little louder, because I do realize that my other videos, the sound was pretty low. So I'm sitting in my car, I was driving, and I just felt the need to make it now. Been pondering it for a couple of days, but today was the day. So bless you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me out. Some may agree, some may disagree, whatever the case may be. I'm just obeying the Spirit as it gives me utterance. So a few days ago, well, last week, Pastor Rufus had made a short video rebuking Pastor Dow, Brother Bud, and Brother JC. And it was basically a warning, a threat, a promise, if you will, by his own words, that if they didn't make public videos apologizing to Brother Abraham for the defamation of his character, the things they said about him, etc., etc. You can go back over and listen to his video. It's on his page. That they had 4 days. I think the video was last Monday, and they had 4 days to put that video out, publicly apologizing to Brother Abraham. And the promise was that if they did not do that, then on Friday, on Shabbat, on his Shabbat Live, that he would expose some secrets of theirs, and that he had receipts for, etc. And to my knowledge, now I could be wrong, but I don't see every single video that's put out. I just don't have time. I'm a single woman. I have to work. I have to do things. So to my knowledge, those guys did not put out any apology videos. So on Shabbat evening, on Pastor Rufus's live, which, by the way, let me say that was a very good, edifying word that he spoke, that he gave from Samuel about the ewe lamb. Although I think that he pretty much was relating it to Pastor Dow being the wicked man, and the Straightway Georgia being the ewe lamb. But I got other things from it. It relates to my life, because that's how I get the word. When I hear the word preached or taught, I'm trying to relate it to my life and situations to my life. Everything in my mind is not about Straightway and Pastor Dow. So, but that was a very, very good teaching. But okay, so I said that to say that I was noticing in the comment section, as he was doing this teaching, that there were several people in there asking about the promise that he made to expose the wickedness of these men who had slandered Brother Abraham. And I believe it appeared that in the comments that the people who were asking when he's going to do that were being ostracized. They were being mocked. They were being told they had no love, and they was just full of hate, and they weren't there for the right reasons, etc. I don't know what their motivation was for asking, for asking Pastor Rufus to fulfill that promise. I don't know what their motivation was. But at the same time, I felt like it was wrong for people to ridicule them for asking. And here's why. Because if we are to model our lives like the Father, if we are to walk in his ways and his images, and his image, Yah doesn't make us promises that he doesn't keep. Okay? In fact, his word says, put me in remembrance of my word. That's not because he's forgotten what he said. It's because he wants to know that you know what he said. So he says, put me in remembrance of my word. So every promise, and when I pray to the Father, I do just that. If I have situations in my life, I will go to the Father and say, you promised that you would never leave me, that you would never forsake me. Father, you promised that if I keep my mind stayed on you, that you would keep me in perfect peace. Father, you promised that if I seek first the kingdom of Yah and his righteousness, that all these things will be added unto me. And so he's saying, I will hasten to my word to perform it, because I don't go back on my word. My word will accomplish what I've set out for it to accomplish, and it will prosper in the thing whereunto I've sent it. So he wants us to put him in remembrance of what he said, of his promises to us, like a child does its parents. I think about when I saw those comments about those people asking, I think about, like, I'm a grandmother. And let's just give an example. If I promise my grandchildren that, okay, this evening, Nana's going to take you girls to the park. Now, if I go to work and I have a bad day at work, or this, that, and the third, I ran into this situation and that situation, and by the time I got home, I'm exhausted. I can't look at my 3 and 4-year-old granddaughters and chide and chastise and ridicule them for asking me about the promise I made to them, because my day had nothing to do with the promise I made to them. Granted, I may have a very good reason for not being able to make good on that promise, but even if I do, I first and foremost need to acknowledge that I made them that promise, because it erodes the very trust that they would have in me if I don't acknowledge it at all, if I ridicule them for bringing it up, right? So that's how I saw when those people were asking, when are you going to talk about what you said 4 days ago? And people were basically beating them up for asking. I felt like that was wrong. That's just my opinion. Because it's also holding you, Pastor Rufus, accountable for what you said. So the only reason that I could think, and I was, asking the Father, the only reason why someone would not keep a promise of that caliber would be, I just want to maybe dispel what reasons it could have been. Maybe it's the fact that you're in a legal battle and maybe your attorneys have advised you not to do that. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because maybe you spoke prematurely and not realizing that maybe some of the things that you would reveal would make you complicit or implicate you in the matters. Because in my heart, and I love you, I do, I love your spirit, and the Father loves you, without a doubt, or I wouldn't have the boldness to say the things that I'm saying. But I find it hard to believe that someone who was so close to Pastor Dow, almost like a right-hand man, right? And I'm not by any means saying that you were involved in some of the things that went down there. But I've always heard you say that you did not live on the land in Tennessee. You and your family were not often there except during special occasions, feast days, etc., etc. However, you personally, Pastor, I've seen many videos where the two of you and Pastor Dow were riding together on trips. You spent a lot of time with him, personally, him. And so if you rewind everything to He's been wicked and working wickedness and unrighteousness for decades, right? Even if you don't see exactly what the wickedness is, a wicked person reveals who they reveal themselves in everyday life, in everyday matters, in everyday encounters. So, I mean, there had to be something that perhaps you saw, heard, overheard, that made you question the integrity of this man, the righteousness of this man. How some of the, I mean, I honestly, like, I want to bring up this one thing. I really wasn't, I'm going as the Spirit leads me. This one point I want to make, and I could be someone who just didn't see the videos, because like I said, I don't see every video. But I specifically remember, because I've been following this ministry for 7, 8, 9 years now. Not involved, but following, listening, learning. And I can recall several years back hearing a video that you made about Brother Mike and Sister Victoria. I remember that video so explicitly because it was so harsh. And it was basically telling the saints, have no fellowship with them, mark them as evil and wicked and this, that, and the third. And that was an open rebuke. That was an open chastisement. That was an open appeal, or not appeal, but basically threat to the saints to never fellowship with these people again. And I understand about obey those who have the rule over you, but it puts things in the heart of people against other people who they don't even know. Or maybe they have never even met. And so I know that you said you apologized and repented to these two individuals and others, but I'm just specifically speaking of these two, that you've repented to them. But I've never seen a public video where you repented to them. And the reason why I bring that up is because of Acts chapter 16, when the Apostle Paul was and Paul and Silas were thrown into prison at Rome. And once the jailer was converted, and he was converted and he's following Christ now, and now he wants to he's openly rebuked them, he's openly threatened them, Paul and Silas, threw them in prison, beaten them in public. And then once he was converted, he wanted to privately let them go. And Paul said, no, you openly rebuked us. You openly beat us. And you want to let us go in private? You need to do it publicly. The same way that you ridiculed us, the same way that you beat us and threw us into prison in front of everyone, uncondemned, you need to publicly make it right. So that was one of the things that bothered me also. And you can address these things if you want. I think I'm saying things that others would like to say. And okay, so I'm gonna move on because I'm almost done. It was one other thing. Oh, so yes, the fact that you haven't made good on that promise, maybe perhaps you could possibly explain why, but to just pretend or move as if the promise was never made. Not only does it erode the trust of those who may take what you say at face value and believe what you say, but it also gives those devils who heard those things and did not comply a reason to believe that you are not going to do anything. And not only that, we can keep doing wickedness because we know that he's not going to expose something that may or may not implicate himself. So I don't know what the reason is. I just I just believe that people are, are owed an explanation as to why that wasn't fulfilled and what, may have caused a breakdown in communication. But to ridicule people for even asking you to keep that promise, I think that's wrong. That's just my take on it. I may have left something out. I feel like there was something else the Most High wanted me to say. I can't think of it now, but I hope that I said something that, would help clear the air, because I feel like I can feel tension in the air. And I hope that you still love me and that I love all of you all. And I just want to be free. I just want to be able to read my Bible, try to live it the best I can. And my life is by no means perfect, but the Most High's always given me a certain level of discernment, and He's always given me certain things to speak to people who I feel I don't have a right to address. But if He says so, people have been deceived so much, and it's time for all deception to stop. People just need to be real and honest and true. And I pray for all of you, and I hope that you all pray for me. Yeah, so that's that. I feel like there's more, but it's not coming to me right now. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom, and blessings.